Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, all of my beautiful friends from all across the internet. I hope each and every single one of you is having an absolutely spectacular day, or whenever you happen to be listening to this podcast episode, whether that be morning or evening or afternoon or in the night. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/ask Reddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Now remember, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, maybe it's Pandora, maybe you're listening through an Amazon Alexa, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. It helps out the show immensely. So please, if you could go ahead and do that, I would be very appreciative. You can respond to this week's question by going to Spotify and clicking the description of an episode, and there should be a comment section down below, and you should be able to submit your comment. You will be notified when your comment is published, and I'll read that comment out loud on the next week's following episode. And it doesn't have to be necessarily anything question related. Even if you just want to say something about the podcast itself, you can go ahead and use your, exercise your free will and do that. This is an ad-supported show, so we will take an ad break right after we're done reading the responses from the last week's previous episode, and then we will take another ad break a little bit later into the episode, maybe 20 minutes in the episode after that. Please go ahead and join our subreddit, r/Reddit Asks Us on Reddit, where you can post things about the podcast, all things podcast, and Reddit Asks Us related, as well as there's a new mega thread posted every week, so if you want to go comment in there, I will read those responses out loud as well. So why don't we hop into last week's episode and the responses there. So it was, what is the pettiest reason you won't date somebody? So I think maybe the question was a little bit misunderstood, but a couple of people said that, oh yeah, like I'm not with somebody, so I can't say. You don't have to be with somebody. It's about a potential somebody. You know, like if I caught a person who I'm trying to hit up, rip off their toenails and start eating them, that's going to be a deal breaker for me. That's more than petty. That's not necessarily petty reason why I wouldn't break up with somebody. But maybe if I was trying to have a serious conversation with them, or just a general conversation and just addicted to TikTok, it's so funny when you're sitting in a room with someone who's listening to their like TikTok or Reels out loud. It is just the most like, oh man, it's like their mind is being sucked into an attention vortex. It's so funny. Oh my god, it's hilarious to watch people just like stare off into their phone and the audio is constantly changing as they scroll through. It's hilarious. But anyways, first one comes from Dusty. For the would you rather, last week's, I guess I should say what last week's would you rather is. So the result of last week's would you rather was, would you rather sleep on a bed made of honey, or shower in hot chocolate? And we got sleep on a bed of honey. So that's interesting. I feel like that, neither one is great, but I feel like you can dry off the hot chocolate, whereas the bed of honey is so sticky, like it's going to get everywhere. So first comment was from Dusty. For the would you rather, I chose hot cocoa shower, as long as I don't get sticky from the hot cocoa. I feel like you're going to get a little stickier. Look how sticky it gets from the honey. A little bit more on last week's episode. Back to the former friend. Moved and seemed normal at the time, but now that I'm thinking about it, he was weird. Driver's ed is so boring. No response for this week's prompt. Yeah, I was like, what's a shocking secret I think about a friend, or whatever was last week's? I couldn't exactly remember. Next one comes from a special little cat. So I talked about my last comment about my friends and told him, so now we all hate that liar because the friend I told was getting lied to by the other guy. So imagine dating somebody. Oh, and then that's unrelated. Then, so also imagine dating somebody. No, just lonely. I also just got my permit, so as a warning, maybe stay off the road. Everybody's getting their licenses, man. I feel so old. Like, holy crap. I'm in like my graduated tier of license, so that every year I don't get into an accident. I like get better in, prices on my insurance. I feel like, oh my goodness, I'm starting to give life advice now. Is this where I'm at now, everybody? Like, is this what my life has led me to? I'm starting to give life advice to people who listen to my podcast. Jeez. I don't know. I think I've lost it. Next one comes from Phil Savannah. One called guacamole avocado sauce. That's crazy. How do you, your parents literally teach you from a young age, like, we're going to make some avocado sauce toast. I mean, I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to have children if that's what you're calling guacamole. Like, really? One never washed her jeans because it ruined the denim. She would also often sleep in jeans. Crazy. Okay, I don't often sleep in jeans, but I have to defend myself. I have slept in jeans. My friends do get mad at me because sometimes when we go out, I end up falling asleep in my clothes. And apparently this is a cardinal sin of the world. And everybody thinks that I should burn in hell for eternity for doing that, but it is what it is. I don't do it all the time. It's just only sometimes, when I'm exhausted or just coming home from, a late night. But, I feel like the washing the jeans because it ruins the denim, that doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, I don't, like, it's like, well, geez, oh my God, your room. I mean, it's, no offense, but your room kind of smells terrible. Like, it smells like BO. Well, I mean, shouldn't everybody's? Like, you actually wash your clothes? That ruins the material. Like, the material is immediately ruined as soon as it gets put in the washing machine. Did you know that? It loses all its value as soon as it's put. It's like a car. As soon as you put it in the washing machine, it loses all its value. It's like, I don't think you can equate those two things. I don't think that this is driving a brand new car off the lot and buying a new shirt are the same. I think you should wash your clothes. Like, you smell like shit. One said, OMG, I'm such a Leo all the time. She was actually an Aries. Those are the funniest videos when guys are like, or girls, I don't know. No, normally I've seen it, what happened with guys, but they'll go up to like a girl or whatever on the street and they'll be like, who's like, what star sign is your best match? And they'll be like, I'm like only into Sagittarius. And he's like, oh my God, that's crazy. I'm a Sagittarius, like that, or whatever. And then she's like, oh my God. And he's like, oh, just kidding. I'm like a Leo, or I'm telling it horribly. But anyways, oh yeah. And she's like, oh, that's exactly something a Sagittarius would do. And then he's like, yeah, except I'm a Virgo. But yeah, I'm telling this story horribly, but all the star sign stuff, it just does not make sense. She watched videos on full volume in public. Definitely a red flag. Red flag for sure. I was at the gym the other day and I saw a girl running on the treadmill. And as she was running on the treadmill, she was scrolling on TikTok. I'm like, is this what we've come to as a society? We can't just like listen to music anymore. We need just constant mental stimulation. I'm like, I'm like, you're jumping around. This doesn't even seem practical. Like, I feel like I'm not, when I do want to watch Reels or TikTok or something, I'm not looking to be actively engaged in other activities. I tend to just sit there and rot in my bed to do stuff like that. And my current girlfriend is incapable of putting a top back on something. Soda bottle, flat. Salsa, don't try picking it up by the lid. Oh, no. And of course, there is a girl who got pterodactyl, but I'm not sure how petty that was by me though. Yeah, I mean that's kind of petty. Like, for those who don't know, this is like a long running thing on the podcast about Phil Savannah knows someone who was pterodactyled, which basically means it's just go look it up or something. It's an intimate act, but like bedroom type intimate. And I mean, if somebody told me that they did that, I'd kind of be just like, that's pretty freaking wild. I don't know if I'd be like, I mean, unless you're doing that while I'm dating you, then that's a problem. I'm not really trying to have you come home and be like, honey, we don't even need to get together tonight because I literally just got pterodactyled by some random dudes I met at the park. I'd be like, okay, I don't really see this relationship going very far. Next one, last one comes from the subreddit, comes from the Dopic. Hey, Luke, for the poll, I think I'd rather sleep on a bed of honey because at least I can take a shower in the morning. Fair enough. Plus, honey is good for your skin, so I just sleep naked and reap the benefits. Okay, I did not know that. For the question, I've never really dated anyone, so no stories. See you next week. like I said, it doesn't, it could be potential for the future, right? All right, that's the end of the responses. I'm going to read out this week's Would You Rather, and then we're going to hop into this week's episode. So the Would You Rather for this week, think about this very carefully, my friends. Would you rather definitely prove the existence of ghosts or the existence of aliens? So chow on that while we have a short ad break, and then we'll get back into this week's episode.
Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou o kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, into this week's Reddit Asks Us episode. My asthma's been acting up whenever the weather changes and it gets drier out. I end up having a bit of a hard time adjusting. So anyways, as you can see from the episode title, people who are no longer bound by NDAs, what are some surprising secrets that you can expose? So, I mean, this is going to be pretty specific. I don't necessarily expect everybody, if they want to comment or something, that they are signed on NDAs or something crazy like that. But, even if you just want to expose a secret from work or school, or, maybe, you got some juicy gossip you can give us, go ahead. This is a safe place. No one knows your real name. All right, so we don't really have anything to worry about here. First one comes from Gakwa. In a tech support role, one manager used to boast about his company's average call times and that they were the lowest in the company. Well, average call times were in the 12 to 17 minute range, and his team was consistently under 10 minutes. His team was awarded multiple times, and his strategy was adopted company-wide to all customer service and technical support teams, including our internal IT teams. That strategy was under strict NDA, as we did not want to allow competitors to emulate it. When our call center would go bid on contracts, it became an awesome metric. Our customer satisfaction scores are on par, but we have call times 20 to 30% lower than our competitors. The dirty secret of the NDA that I was not allowed to disclose, their big method, just hang up on people. Straight up. Find a way to say, okay, go ahead and do that and call me back if it doesn't fix it. Then hang up and don't wait for confirmation. Next call. Okay, so reboot your PC and your problem should be solved. Thanks for calling. Eventually, they came up with more useful metrics that tracked things like first call resolution, which absolutely shredded this company, and they went out of business a year or two later. Yeah, this doesn't really seem like a very sustainable way of doing customer service and customer satisfaction tracking. I don't really know if that method's going to last very much into the future. But I also feel like, how do you have your customer satisfaction, I feel like, how did that not just absolutely tank? You were basically just telling people to go fuck themselves. It's like, yeah, I have this weird thing going on with my computer. It's just, it's not responding to anything. I clicked all the buttons. I think I might have downloaded something illegal, or I don't know where this came from. I borrowed a friend's hard drive and downloaded a movie off of it, but I don't really know what's going on. I really need help. Have you tried turning it on and off again? Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye. I mean, to be honest, that's kind of how it feels sometimes these days when you actually, call somebody or at a call center, and you're trying to figure out your problem, and you're not. First of all, it takes you like a million years to even talk to an actual human being, and by the time you talk to them, I mean, I feel like I'm just really terrible at explaining what my problems are over the phone. I'm like, can I just pay money and have this fixed for me? I don't really feel like I have the skills to be able to fix this problem on my own. I just Can you send someone over just to hug me? Just to hug me and cradle me and comfort me until I'm able to figure out this fucking problem, because I just don't know. I don't understand. That's insane. I feel like that's just so crazy. It's like my computer, the screen is just doing all these weird, it's like staticky, I'm getting messages from people telling me they know where I live and that they have my address, and they put my mom's address on there, and they got my credit card information that they posted, and I'm kind of freaking out. This seems really dangerous and really bad. Like it's like it's got all my family members. They're listing. They've got our dental records. This is crazy. I need your help. I need to figure out what's going on. What is this? They're posting my location. It's been already posted on the internet. What's happening? So what we're going to get you to do is go ahead and hit the off button. And then when you do that, that should be the problem. That should be fixing the problem. And then if it doesn't work, then just give us a call back, and someone will handle you. I'm sure someone will figure it out. Okay, bye. It's like I'm getting, this is more than a hack. I'm getting like infiltrated. My data is getting mined for everybody. I'm being extorted. This is an extortion. They threatened to kill me. Someone has said that they're coming to my address. There's a scary black van outside. I need help. Okay, someone's going to call you right back. This call has just been over my recommended call time, so I'm going to have to shovel this off to somebody else. But I'm sure your problem is going to be fixed immediately and as soon as possible. And if not, then it was really nice knowing you. It was really nice being able to speak with you for these couple minutes. And, I hope there's something on the other side for you. I don't really know what to tell you. Okay, goodbye. It's before they started, like, recording all the calls. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next one comes from Fornico. I once got hurt at work, a concussion specifically, on camera. I have a history with concussion-like symptoms. I was 99% sure I hit my head, but I lost all of my memory in the accident. Wait a second. I have a history with concussion-like symptoms? What do you mean by concussion-like symptoms? You're just getting concussions all the time? Concussion-like CTE? Like, I feel like that's you're dealing with a pretty big problem here. It's like the fact that you don't remember, that you're not really having clear indications, like, yeah, they're concussion-like. I just black out for, hours on end, and, I get my head really hurts, and I'm sensitive to noise and sound and light, but it's concussion-alike. We're going to call it concussion-like. Maybe even just concussion-light. It's like, I think you need to have an MRI, my guy. I was 99% sure I hit my head, but lost all the memory of the accident. I ended up missing a few weeks of work due to the severity. I wasn't 100% sure if I had some sort of mental breakdown, so I asked to see the video that could confirm my injury. Bum, bum, bum. They flat out refused to let me see the video, and they told me there was no evidence that I hit my head. I offered to sign away any rights to sue and wasn't even asking for them for hospital bills or paid time off. Long story short, I sued them, I won, and had to sign an NDA. Excuse me. I got my wages and hospital bills paid that I wasn't even asking for, and was finally able to get the video. It was 100%, no doubt, a head injury, complete with a loud bonking sound effect. That's actually the one that they use in movies. That footage got publicized, and that is the standard Foley effect for when someone gets hit in the head in cartoons. Actually, it's like the bonk, bonk. When someone gets the big goosebump, the cartoon goosebump. They started using that sound effect from the footage because there was a resemblance to a certain authenticity that the studios really appreciated about it. But yeah, it was no doubt a complete head injury with a loud bonking sound effect, and had me falling down and leaving a dent in the bulkhead that I hit. Bruh, what was this bulkhead made out of? Like concrete? Who are you? Like, are you just, I'm the juggernaut, bitch? Like, are you, like, I don't understand. How did you not die from this? This sounds like something only a person with superhuman capabilities would be able to survive. That is so wild, though. Like, you're just asking for the footage and the company's just straight up like, no, we'd rather not show you that. Well, I kind of need to see it. I mean, the doctor wants to know how severe this is, and I don't really remember, so I need to see the footage. This is like crucial information, something that could inform my medical treatment that could save my life. Yeah, so we've crunched the numbers. We've looked at the A's and the B's and the C's and the D's, and we've crossed our T's and dotted some of our I's, and then we've circled back around to it, put a pin in it, and then circled back again around to it, just corporate lingo, and we found that, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that for you, because we are going to plead the Fifth Amendment on this one on the grounds that the footage may incriminate us. It's like, I don't think that's a thing here. I don't think you can invoke the Fifth Amendment. This isn't like a trial or anything. This is you legally kind of just have to give it to me. Like, this is footage that is, you can't plead the Fifth here. I don't know what you're trying to do. Like, it's like there's no recourse for you. That's so wild that the company was just like, yeah, we realize that this is definitely going to incriminate us. So, we understand it's your life at stake. We get it. We totally get that. Oh my goodness, do we ever understand? Oh yeah, it's life and death for you. Yeah, we totally get it. It's happens to everybody. But the thing about that is, no. So I guess, yeah, that's going to be, why don't we just move on? Let's focus on our relationship with each other. Okay, I just feel like we haven't been respectful of one another as company to employee. Yeah, I don't really feel like we've been respectful because you're preventing life-saving footage. They kind of just screwed themselves over. I don't really know what they were thinking. I just don't, like, you really don't think that it's going to take this to court? Like, did you just think like, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll blow over. Meanwhile, dude's got full-on potential brain damage, and you think you're just going to, like, move on from that? Next one comes from Snuffy1717. The private school I worked for was students identified with giftedness. The owner of the school administered the giftedness test. Wow, we can already tell that this test is probably going to be very accurate. This sounds definitely not like Scientology. Can you pay the tuition? You're gifted. Can your sibling pay? Them too. Your cousin, your neighbor, kid you know from across town? You're all gifted. This gives me the energy of the newspaper guy from Spider-Man. He's like, kid. He's like smoking the massive cigar. He's like, oh, yeah, you're special. Of course you're special. Everybody knows that. Everybody know you got something, kid. Now, where's the check? Where's the check from your mom? Hand me over the check. It's like, oh yeah, she said that we can't really afford to keep going here, but she said that since I'm so gifted and talented that you guys would let me stay. He's like, what? No check? You're not giving me a check? Son, I'm sorry to tell you, but without that money, you're just like the rest of them. You're just like the rest of them on the street. It's not, you need money to bring you ahead in life. Your gift is there, but you really need to express the gift with money. The gift is only going to emerge from within you with thousands of dollars. Do you not understand? We need the money because the money, in turn, makes you more gifted. There's a connection. It's a 1-to-1 ratio on these things. I've been running this school for a long time, kid. Now, do you know anyone else who could pay? Grandma, anyone, aunts, uncles, great aunts, great uncles. Maybe a family fortune gonna be handed down to you through your parents. Maybe you just need to get yourself that fortune. Maybe you got a lot inherited coming to you. Maybe you can make it happen faster, if you know what I mean. Maybe your parents, they've lived a full life. They have lived long enough, okay? It's time for your turn. You're gifted. You're the one who's gifted. You are the one who deserves to be around here, not your parents. So I'd give it some thought there, kid. I'd give it some thought about what you want to do about the situation here. That's crazy. I went to a school for the financially gifted. This is the problem. These are these like trust fund kids, and they grow up, thinking that they're so much better than everybody else, and that it's just going to be an easy breeze inheriting their father's multi-million-dollar company. And it's just like, well, I mean, it would be helpful for you maybe to join the family business if you knew anything about business. I mean, the only thing I feel like you have an expertise in is Molly. And that's kind of where the line stops. I would definitely trust you if you're going to try to tell a person, what's good stuff and bad stuff. I'm not condoning your actions. I'm just saying I think you probably have an expertise. I think your expertise lies in, all the different types of party drugs that you've tried. However, I don't really think that those skills translate very well to a business corporate environment. Just my opinion. But, I don't really see, unless you're going to, Stratton Oakmont is closed. Okay, it's where the Jordan Belfort days are over. You can't snort lines of coke and make millions of dollars anymore. I mean, it's not commonplace. So I think you're going to have to think a little outside the box, or maybe think within the box. Maybe it's time to return into the box, think inside the box, then maybe you can think outside the box. But I think you haven't done enough thinking inside the box first. I think, for the gifted, no offense, but, a lot of kids, they can play the piano. Not to take away from you and your piano skills, but, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that know how to do that. So it's, I think maybe we need, if you're hosting competitions, like spelling bees and math competitions only within your own school, I think it's time to, branch out a little bit. It's like that kid from Grown Ups. The math is it's not mathing on this one, but it's, if your teacher keeps telling you you're right, I still don't think you're quite onto something. I don't really think you're destined to be the next, master architect, master engineer. I really don't think you got the skills quite yet to become, that. But, I heard that there's lots of jobs for ungifted people, like most of everyone. There's a lot of jobs out there for regular people. So maybe think about that as like a career path, maybe something more regular. I don't really think, partying in Ibiza is going to be leading you on to the most successful career path.
Olha o contra-ataque aí, vem que vem o time avançando rápido pela linha de campo. Bola dominada no pé do camisa 10. Ele vai pra cima, passou pelo primeiro, passou pelo segundo. E bateu a grande área, vai chutar. Bateu, é gol! Que golaço, minha gente!
A experiência de futebol mais autêntica já criada para os games. Junte-se no 5v5 Rush, a nova maneira de jogar com os amigos, e leve seu clube para a vitória. EA Sports FC 25. Dê tudo pelo clube. Já disponível.
Next one comes from this guy. About 20 years, I signed an NDA with a very large record company. Wow. Damn, bro sold his soul already. Regarding their attempts to get selling their catalog online, streaming, sales, etc. It was a minefield because they were still wary of pissing off high street retailers, and that's where the charts came from. These attempts were frustrated by their top-level corporate guys. One week they all went to a what is an MP3 conference. I almost said what is an NPC conference, but low-key those things are like the exact same. In Buenos Aires to get them up to speed. The thing is that they spent so much time partying, the only talk that seemed to stick was the scare tactics about how teens could scrape MP3s from the web and they could be copied and redistributed easily. When they came back, every item in the catalog was ordered to be scrubbed from the web. Number 30, no 30-second previews, nothing should be audible, not a hint of audio, lock it all down. Put all the tapes in a chest and seal it with concrete at the bottom of the sea. That's going to make everyone go back to CDs. Good old, profitable CDs. Yeah. And we all know how that worked out because of the golden age of pirated music in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s. That was a beautiful time. I mean, personally, you know, I didn't download a ton of music. My neighbors did, and my friends when I was a kid. But I think a lot of people I knew got too many viruses from LimeWire to really. That kind of spooked me out. You know, when people's computers would stop working. I really liked playing Club Penguin a lot. So I don't think that was a great, you know, I kind of looked at the you know, the pluses, the positives and the negatives, and I was kind of like, do I want to hear this song or do I want to spend the next 2 hours on Club Penguin? You know, I might run into a predator. I might run into a pedophile, you know, but geez, you know, these predators know how to converse, okay? I was locked into a conversation with a guy, and you know, he got weird. He got definitely weird. But the first part of the conversation, it was flowing. It was back and forth. I can't miss out on that. Are you kidding me? He's my best friend. It's like, yeah, the internet was a scary place like 20 years ago. That's terrible for me to say. 20 years ago? Really? How old am I? The internet was a scary place. You know, 20 years ago. It was the Wild West. You know, you were never free. No one was ever free. It was, you know, they infiltrated everywhere. Whether it was, you know, music or Webkins or Club Penguin, it was all over the place. But it's actually so hilarious how they were making everyone go back to CDs as if CDs are not digital. They're a digital medium. That's, you know, you just made it a lot easier for everybody to go and pirate music. Because now all I have to do is just go buy a bunch of CDs, rip them, and then put them on the internet for everybody. So this is what happens when people just try to like, I gotta hold into my money. How am I gonna get money out of this? Everybody needs money. I want to hold on to all the money. Oh man, Dean's voices are killing me today. But I think their plan backfired on them in the most ironic and awesome way. They really made it a lot easier for everybody. Like, you know, they could have had the first, you know, the first mark online. They could have been the Mavericks. You know, the trendsetters. But as we know, record labels are historically shitty. So, you know, didn't work out too great for them. Next one comes from Tamamothchuck. At my old job, Pam helped me relocate my client's ad scheduling so I could invoice a little extra for the last month of December 2014, helping me hit my yearly budget. I got let go 2 weeks after that, and I believe the original plan was to fire me under the justification of missing my yearly budget. Instead, I got a severance of $15,000. I believe Pam knew or heard what the lay of the land was, and helped me out. Appreciate you, Pam. Do you, by any chance, work at a now defunct paper company? Did you happen to maybe have feelings for Pam? Was she the receptionist and you guys developed a very unique and heart-throbbing relationship that developed over about 9 seasons, ending in marriage? Something like that? Did you guys start seeing each other around 2005? December 2014 sounds about right for the marriage ceremony, something like that. Wait, I don't feel like I don't understand this one. Help me at my old job. Pam let me relocate my client's ad scheduling so I could invoice a little extra out of the last. How? For a second, I'm just like, yeah, Pam helped me siphon money out of the company account and clean it up. Or some people say put it through the laundry. Just clean it up a little bit so that I could get directly deposited it into my account. So, and then for some reason they wanted to fire me over this, and I'm like, chill out. What did I do that was wrong? I mean, you guys have money. I'm just trying to spread the love, okay? I just felt I deserved some extra dollars, a little bit more dinero. And so I'm like, so what? I siphoned a bit of money out of the company account. I've got a membership, multiple to pay for, okay? The Factor Meals is not cheap. All right, HelloFresh is not cheap, okay? I don't like to cook. So I got to figure out a way to just siphon a little extra cash on the side. It's going towards a good cause. My stomach. Maybe a Maserati down the future. I'm trying to put a bunch of it away. Who knows, okay? It's all up in the air. And personally, I find it a little bit intrusive, these questions you're asking. So shout out to Pam. It's like, I think what you're describing is money laundering. Like, you're just stealing money. It's just theft. I think what you're describing, I don't think that's a very... I think you were in the wrong here. Normally, I side with the companies, but I think you might be at the wrong here. Next one comes from Red Paloverde. I worked at a cancer charity, and half the people would order things for themselves and charge it to the charity. An eye-opening job for a 16-year-old. Oh, what? I mean, bruh. Really? How cold and black-hearted of a person, and just like rotting of an interior of a heart, just like, the black spot from Pirates of the Caribbean when Davy Jones puts the black spot on Jack Sparrow's hand. That is like their heart. How terrible of a person do you have to be to steal from a cancer charity? It's not even just like a charity that donates to multiple causes, Maybe you're getting into it because it's shady and that's the kind of type of person you are and looking for what you do. No, this is a cancer charity. This charity is specifically for cancer. You know what's more important than people with cancer? The fact that I need a little bit more money right now. The fact that, a lot of people have cancer. And I'm just looking for a couple extra orders of Uber Eats this week. Sue me, okay? I'm like, I just want some Postmates. Just give it to me. I wanted to splurge a little bit, on the Popeyes combo meal, and I just need a little extra dough. Sorry. People have cancer. Everyone has cancer nowadays, okay? I probably have cancer. I probably have cancer right now. So this money's mine. It's really my money at the end of the day. I mean, I'm probably going to get cancer in the future at some point. I mean, who doesn't? Or who isn't? So the way, if we're kind of just looking at this in an economical way, just, we're going to expand on our definition of cancer here and who has it. I feel like I'm right under that qualification. This reminds me of that episode of How I Met Your Mother when Ted goes to volunteer for, what was it? It was a Thanksgiving thing? And a couple of the people who are like volunteering there are stealing some of the nice like items. And he's like, these are supposed to go to the hungry. And then the girl goes, yeah, and I'm starving. It's like, that's same mentality here. Same mentality. It's just like, I'm sick. I got the flu last week. I need a flat of Gatorade. All right? These homeless people, what are they going to do with a flat of Gatorade? Okay? They probably shouldn't even be drinking it. They should be drinking some water. Okay? A flat of Gatorade, it's not going to cure their homelessness. So I'm just gonna take it for myself. I need it, okay? I'm in a rec basketball league. I need this. This is going to the needy. I actually need this. How many homeless people do you see out here hooping like me? Okay, obviously not. Now I'm trying to make the league, bro. Rec basketball is just the first start. All right, I need a donation to help me move up in the basketball world, okay? It's like, jeez, this is that's probably as bad as it gets. That's probably of a terrible of a person as you could probably be. Next one comes from Hellhound28. I briefly worked at a university in South Florida in the late 90s and early 2000s. I was chosen to be on an academic integrity team, basically reviewing claims of plagiarism and cheating and deciding between the 5 of us whether it was valid or not. We were made to sign the NDA when we accepted the invite to be a part of the team. There were 3 instances where an employee that was taking classes there clearly cheated, and the issue was brought to our attention. Those 3 times, the cheating was blatant. All 3 times we were told to let it go, as it would look bad for the university to have it get out. I'm not sure if this was common for other universities, but at the time I was under the impression that it was a common practice everywhere. It was ultimately one of the main reasons I ended up quitting. I was and still am disgusted by it. They were just like reviewing things. They come across a professor's feedback and it's like, this is just totally ChatGPT. ChatGPT sounds exactly like this. Great work, Elizabeth. However, here are some areas where I think you could improve. I feel like that's got to be, you can't just grade papers using ChatGPT. I mean, people need actual real feedback. It's like, well, to be fair, ChatGPT, pretty smart. Okay, pretty smart. What is ChatGPT going to say that I'm going to say differently? Okay, that's ChatGPT. I feel like kind of has the one up on this one. If you're asking me, I feel like there's a bit of an advantage. ChatGPT actually might be better. I have a lot of things going on. I can't be grading papers. I mean, my computer's ChatGPT is already getting exhausted. It's writing my next article that's supposed to be published in the next journal. So I'm kind of maxing out my CPU here on my computer with all the use of ChatGPT that I'm doing. So, I mean, maybe the school can use their servers. My computer's kind of maxed out. It's hit the ChatGPT limit on this one. It's all GPT'd out on, I'm writing like 5 papers right now. I'm writing a book, actually. Well, it's inspired by me, but you get it. You understand. It's like, no, I think what you're describing is just complete violation of academic integrity. That's kind of just the whole point of going to university is, learning how to do these types of things on your own without plagiarism. This sounds like it was a while ago, too. This was in late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, if there was a time to get away with plagiarism, I feel like it was back then. This doesn't really seem like a big time in terms of crackdown at these types of institutions. It's like, yeah, you know what? Professor Smith, I don't even know. He's well respected. So we let him cheat, but If you see a student, though, we're looking for students on this one. We're not employees, okay? Well, they're employees before they're students. All right, they got to make money. So they're just, and they perform a really important function here at the university. It's like, aren't they just recruiters just trying to get people to come here, spend tons of money on school? It's like, yeah, that's important for the school. And, that they do a great job. It's like, I'm pretty sure this is the school for the gifted, isn't it? Like, don't we just, I've kind of taken a peek at the books while working here. It seems like we're charging a lot of money for the students. All right, let's read off maybe one more. Okay, last one comes from Soripto. In Prince George's County, Maryland, county transit bus drivers are instructed following an accident that they are not to speak to anyone until a supervisor arrives on the scene. An approved method for not talking, especially to other drivers involved, is to feign injury. There's actually a money allotted to pay the fines related to wasting 911 and emergency resources. Wow. Because the analyst determined it was cheaper than the cost associated with the drivers accidentally admitting fault. There's also an entire audit and analysis team related to the accidents because of their sheer volume of people who falsely claim to be on a bus during the accident. The bus driver's just sitting on the sidewalk bloody, and just you can clearly see they've got a County of Maryland shirt on, buttoned up blue bus driver shirt. There's just glass poking out of their head. Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" I've been told that I'm not allowed to comment on the situation that is at hand. It's like there's blood coming out of their mouth. It's like, dude, the 911 needs to know, like, I cannot admit to driving or not driving. I'm an employee of the city and county of Maryland. Bro, your head, I can see your brain. Your skull is cracked wide open. I cannot to admit to at fault whether I was driving the vehicle or not. That is for the city transit to be able to decide in the court of law. And so I'm feeling really tired. Is anyone else really exhausted? I feel like I'm just... Then they just die on the ground. Like, how can you not admit to fault? Bro is clearly next to death on the road. It's like, nah. I actually just got here. Really? In the County of Maryland bus t-shirt? Yeah, it's thrifting. I'm a huge thrifter. Yeah, thrifted it. It fits me great, doesn't it? Yeah, it's almost exactly like it was like my size. Yeah, it's kind of crazy in County of Maryland. Yeah, it's really weird. But yeah, no, I don't even know anything about this. This is so crazy. They're literally holding on to the steering wheel. They're just clutching it. They're just reliving it over and over and over again. So yeah, no idea what happened here. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Just glass shards poking out of their chest. Okay, folks, we're going to end it there for this week's episode of the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Remember, if you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcast, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. If you please, you can answer this week's question by going to the description of the episode in Spotify, and you should see a comment section there and comment down below. Comment all your juicy secrets, comment else whatever you have to say in somewhat relevance to this week's episode. I know it's kind of a specific one. But yeah, remember, go ahead and leave the ratings, join our subreddit, and yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Peace out, love you, goodbye.